In recent years, top clubs have been paying more attention to the development of youth players, bringing them into the first team more often. Today, each and every super club has at least one player from their own academy in the squad. 3 years ago, the picture was completely different. Clubs have been trusting in young players more, though they can afford buying inexperienced top players instead. But for smaller clubs, their academies are their main source of income. They develop players for years, and as they gain more experience, the players are being sold to big clubs for big money. In this video, we're going to tell you about 10 European clubs with the most number of their own academy players in the squad. But before we start, try and answer a question. Which of these players is not a Barcelona academy product? Giovanni Dos Santos, Mauro Icardi, Javier Mascherano, Manu Trigueros. Write your answer in the comments, and we get started. Barcelona, 57 players. In the 21st century, the Barcelona Academy has developed many talented players that eventually helped the club reach superb success both domestically and internationally. Among the retired players, we can recall Carles Puyol and Xavi. The latter has been recently appointed as a Barcelona manager. He's going to try and pull Barca out of the hole. One of the possible ways to do this is using the academy players in the first team. Besides the club veterans like Alba, Piqué, Busquets and Roberto, there are 8 young players in the first squad. Eric Garcia, Iñaki Peña, Oscar Mingueza, Alejandro Balde, Ricky Puig, Nico Gonzalez, Gavi, Ansu Fati. Many of them are very promising, but it is still unclear if they will be able to survive hard times at the club. Overall, there are 57 Barcelona graduates currently playing in Europe. Many of them would be of use to the Catalan club right now. Among them are Andre Onana, Dani Olmo, Mauro Icardi, Grimaldo, Takefusa Kubo, and of course Lionel Messi, whose departure caused another disaster. The club got relegated into Europa League and is out of top 4 in La Liga. Many of those who left Barca managed to level up and make a statement in top leagues. We should also recall all the graduates of the Barcelona Academy, Cesc Fabregas, Pedro and Pepe Reina, but they would hardly be useful to the club at the moment. Sparta Prague, 58 players. Sparta is one of the leading clubs in Czech Republic. The best players of the country have played for this club, including Petr Cech, Pavel Nedved and Tomáš Rosický. Only the latter is a club academy graduate, but in any case Sparta played a major role in the careers of the above-mentioned players. Today, 13 homegrown players perform for the club. Many of them have more than 50 matches under their belts. The most famous player is Adam Glozek, who has scored 30 goals in the domestic league by the age of 19. He has already attracted the attention of many European clubs. Sparta has 58 academy graduates playing in various European leagues. The majority of these players are those that play at the club itself, at other Czech clubs, and the loanees. But there are also players that play abroad. The best example is the Euro 2020 top scorer Patrik Schick. The forward has already scored more than a dozen of goals this season for Bayern, and is the second top scorer of Bundesliga behind Robert Lewandowski. There will definitely be many top clubs fighting for Schick's signature this summer, but the footballer should be very careful. There was a time when he moved from Sampdoria to Roma but was unable to play there, scoring only 3 goals in 24 matches. Benfica, 60 players. Benfica from Lisbon is the most award-winning club in Portugal. The Eagles are the record holders for the most domestic titles won, 29 cup titles and 2 Champions League titles. Such a success has been mostly achieved thanks to the club academy, the graduates of which have been glorifying the club throughout its history. But now the situation in Benfica has slightly changed. Only 3 academy graduates are playing in the first team. Today, the club pays more attention to the foreigners, holding up the youth integration into the first team. However, there are 60 Benfica graduates scattered all over Europe. The most famous ones are João Felix, Ruben Dias, Renato Sanchez, Victor Lindelof, Bernardo Silva, André Gomes and João Cancelo. For all these players, Benfica received an unbelievable sum of 346 million euros. Many of these players currently perform for the best European clubs, proving that they are the best in the world at their position. The most expensive player is João Felix. Atletico Madrid paid 127 million euros for him. The Portuguese has been unable to find his game under Diego Simeone though. He's not even a first 11 player this season. Pep Guardiola is confident if that Man City board allocates money for João Felix, he will be able to open up his potential and make him the best player in the world. The footballer is only 22, so he still has plenty of time ahead to fulfill his potential. Real Madrid, 62 players. Real Madrid is the most active football club in the transfer market in the 21st century. The Royal Club's strategy is to buy the best players, paying huge money for them. Time has shown that such an attitude is not always effective. But even more unbelievable is the fact that many academy players that Real once kicked out are now showing a decent game at some top European clubs. Today, 62 Real Madrid graduates are represented in various European championships. Among these players we can recall Juan Mata, Marcos Alonso, Álvaro Morata, Saúl and José Callejon. It's hard to say that these players have fully unleashed their potential, but they are showing decent game from time to time, making Real regret their decision. Achraf Hakimi, for example, is performing for PSG and is very close to becoming one of the best right fullbacks in the world. However, several La Fábrica products managed to survive in Real. Some of them are even first-choice players. Currently, there are 7 academy players in the Real Madrid first team: Nacho Fernandez, Jesus Vallejo, Dani Carvajal, Lucas Vázquez and Mariano Diaz. Some of them are not even bench warmers, so they may leave the club in the upcoming transfer window. But Carvajal, Vázquez and Nacho are first-team players who have helped the club win many trophies. Partizan Belgrade, 69 players. Another Balkan club, Partizan, has developed 69 players that perform in Europe. Alongside Crvena Zvezda, Partizan is the best Serbian team. That's why many famous Serb players are graduates of either of these academies. Currently, 6 homegrown players perform for Partizan, but none of them yet shows the level of football that could draw any of the super club's attention. In fact, there's one that appeared in the European top club to become a failed transfer. Lazar Markovic moved to Benfica in 2013 for 10 million euros. And a year later he moved to Liverpool for 25 million euros. He played 34 matches for the Reds, starting many of them on the bench. After many loan spells, he returned to Partizan in 2019 as a free agent. The most famous Partizan Academy graduates are Nemanja Matic, Stevan Jovetic, Nikola Milenkovic, Matija Nastasic and Dusan Vlahovic. The latter is the 3rd best top scorer of 2021 in Europe after Lewandowski and Holland. Among other players from this list, only Nemanja Matic has had a successful career. He's been playing in the Premier League for 8 years, winning 2 Champions titles. Others used to be promising players, but they couldn't unleash their potential eventually. Dynamo Zagreb, 70 players. Dynamo from Zagreb is the main supplier of Croatian players to European elite clubs. The majority of the national team players are somehow related to this club, and this means that Dynamo Zagreb Academy has played an important role in Croatia's World Cup 2018 success. But in spite of that, there are only 3 academy-grown players in the first team at the moment, and they rarely appear on the pitch. But this was not a problem for the Croatian club last season, as they managed to sensationally kick Tottenham out of the Europa League playoffs. They reached quarter-finals and lost to the future title holder Villarreal. However, Dynamo Zagreb today has 70 academy graduates performing in the leading European championships. Besides the players currently at the club, they developed players like Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, Marcelo Brozovic, Sime Vrsaljko and Joško Gvardiol, who was recently sold to Leipzig for 18.8 million euros. Many of these players have reached a lot already, but they are still considered key players at their clubs. Sporting, 70 players. Sporting's academy in Lisbon can be rightfully called one of the best in Portugal. One of the most famous academy graduates, who's already retired, is Luís Figo. He had an outstanding career, winning the Champions League and Ballon d'Or. Just like Ajax, the development of promising players and their transfers for Sporting is kind of a business. Unfortunately, lately it has been stagnating. Despite a decent number of Portuguese players at the club, only 2 of them are in the first team: Gonçalo Esteves and Gonçalo Inácio. Both players haven't yet shown their skills and are still in the process of development, so it's still early to speak about top clubs' interest. The best young players, Pedro Gonçalves and Nuno Santos, are graduates of other academies, Braga and Benfica. But despite the disappointing situation with the youth, Sporting has 70 academy graduates playing in different European leagues. It's easy to guess that the best of them is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's won many awards during his career, and currently he is the first choice forward at Man United, though he's turning 37 this February. We can also recall several other Sporting players, like Rui Patricio, João Moutinho, Ricardo Quaresma, and even Englishman Eric Dyer. Many of them have left their best years behind, but we should admit that once they were the fan favorites at their clubs. And only Eric Dyer is still to establish himself as a top player in Tottenham at the age of 27. Hopefully the Spurs' new manager Antonio Conte will soon make this happen. Dynamo Kyiv, 70 players. The Blue-Whites have historically been famous for their great academy graduates, among whom are Oleg Blokhin and Andriy Shevchenko. Both of them had an outstanding career with a Ballon d'Or award. Unlike Shakhtar, Dynamo have always focused on youth players. Homegrown players have been key performers in the first squad. The club is not very active on the transfer market. That's why there are less foreigners in the club than academy graduates. Currently, there are only 6 foreign players in Dynamo. All others are Ukrainians, many of whom are the products of their own academy. This situation is mainly the result of the limit in the Ukrainian Premier League, according to which only 5 foreign players can start in the lineup. But Dynamo usually use only 3 of them in the first 11. This is possible thanks to their great academy. The most prominent graduates are currently Viktor Tsigankov and Ilya Zabarny, who have drawn attention of clubs like Napoli and Chelsea. Another academy graduate, young defender Vitaly Mikolenko, moved to Everton for £20 million. Besides, Dynamo have loaned out 12 players. Let's not forget about the players currently playing in Europe. The most famous are Andriy Yarmolenko and Roman Yaremchuk. While Andriy's European career at Everton is gradually coming to an end, Roman is doing quite well. Yaremchuk moved to Benfica in 2021 after his Euro 2020 performance, and he's already helped his team to beat Barcelona and get to the Champions League knockout stage. By the way, in the last group stage game against Dynamo Kyiv, Yaremchuk scored the first goal and celebrated it, taking revenge of former club for not believing in him before. Shakhtar, 75 players. Shakhtar from Donetsk is the most successful Ukrainian club of the 21st century. Since 2000, they have become league winners 13 times. They reached the Champions League quarter-final in 2011 and became the last winners of the UEFA Cup. Such success was the result of their strategy of inviting talented Brazilian players and developing them. For example, in the 2009 UEFA Cup final against Werder, 7 Brazilians were in the lineup: Fernandinho, Douglas Costa, Willian, Luis Adriano, Alex Teixeira, Jadson, Ilsinho. Some of these players continued their careers in European elite clubs. Some of them left for China to earn money, and others just failed to develop. Shakhtar is still following their strategy as they have 10 Brazilian players in the squad, but at the same time the club has been paying more attention to the youth players. Thanks to that approach, 75 Shakhtar Academy graduates are currently playing in Europe. At the club itself, there are 8 academy players. The most talented ones are Mykola Matvienko and Anatoly Trubin. They already play in the Ukraine national team and are scouted by European clubs. 16 players are currently on loan at other Ukrainian clubs. The thing is that after Dnipro and Metalist were disbanded, there are only 2 clubs in Ukraine that attract young, talented players: Shakhtar and Dynamo Kyiv. But Shakhtar does have prominent graduates. Alexander Zinchenko, Ruslan Malinovsky and Viktor Kovalenko. The latter two belong to Atalanta. While Malinovsky is a key player, Kovalenko has to prove his skills on loan at Spezia. And Zinchenko has become Premier League champion 3 times by the age of 25, and he's even played in the Champions League final. Ajax, 81 players. Ajax has always been famous for its great academy players. Johan Cruyff, Frank de Boer, Marco van Basten, Patrick Kluivert, Dennis Bergkamp, Wesley Sneijder, Clarence Seedorf. All these legendary players were raised by the Ajax Academy at different times. The Amsterdam club has earned hundreds of millions on these players' transfers. The talented youngsters have helped the club dominate Eredivisie year after year and get into the Champions League playoffs from time to time. When they gain experience, the club sells them for a solid sum. That has been the strategy of Ajax for decades. That's the reason Ajax has the most academy graduates in European leagues, currently 81 of them. Just look at this list: Matthijs de Ligt, Frankie de Jong, Donny van de Beek, Doniel Malen, Justin Kluivert, Serginho Dest. Though many of them face problems at their current clubs, they are still the best players of their generation that can potentially grow into title holders. From the current Ajax squad, we can highlight Ryan Gravenmacher, Nusser Mazraoui. These players are being scouted by top clubs and probably will transfer next summer. Youth development is a very important process which requires big financial investments. Youngsters should be mentored by quality coaches who will be able to unleash their potential, give them advice, set training schedules, and help them progress. Smaller clubs will sell these players in the future, earning decent money. And in the case of top clubs, we witness that some academy players are no less better than those bought for millions of euros. What do you think? Which club has made a mistake by letting their graduate leave? We're very interested to read your comments. See you soon!